I know what it's like. First time that you hurt someone like that. If you,
Hi, welcome back to the Truth Doctor Show. I'm Dr. Courtney, licensed therapist. Today we're reacting to The Last of Us, episode 4, coming off of one of the most incredible TV episodes. Here we go. Oh yeah, Joel still doesn't know that she has that gun. Ellie obviously wants to really know how to use a gun, is enamored over guns, but I don't think it's an obsession of violence, and I don't think it's an obsession of guns. I think it's an obsession of power, and it's an obsession of having control over something that has essentially taken away your whole life, that has defined your whole life. She's an orphan. We don't know what happened to her friend Riley, and we know that she's intrigued with the ability to kill the infected. When she's looking in the mirror and she's going, pew, pew. Most people who have shot guns over and over and over again and have legitimately killed people, innocent people turned infected or whatever, they don't hold a gun, look in the mirror and go, because it's not a cartoon experience when you're actually engaging in gun violence. And maybe Ellie has been exposed to some type of gun violence before. She's been raised in this environment, this post-apocalyptic environment where guns and violence and survival are really the basis of life experience at this point, but she isn't skilled and she hasn't been trained and she doesn't quite understand the experience of what it's like to shoot a gun and what it's like to kill someone that may be innocent or that used to be a person, which of course is something that she's been curious about already with Joel.
Nice. How does that work?
it's a siphon. It's when liquid
He's teaching
travels
her.
against gravity because pressure.
You don't know.
I know it works. No wandering.
He's trying to teach her. You know, one thing that Ellie's very well aware of is that adults in this world don't know everything. And that might be part of why she wants to know everything.
I stayed up all night,
No.
wondering where the sun went. And then it dawned on me.
Feel free to wait in the truck.
Okay, but just know, you can't escape Will Livingston.
You know, there's something to say about humor in this post-apocalyptic world. And, you know, there's really something to say about any type of positive aspect of life as we know it today. But let's focus on humor. Humor is something that we saw happen between Joel and Sarah, and it was pretty lighthearted in terms of their relationship. Humor is something that Joel lost the privilege of being able to engage in because he had it taken away from him and moved straight into survival. For Ellie, on the other hand, she was born into survival. And so perhaps she had moments where she engaged in humor and laughter and love and connection, but not for as long as Joel did. So for her, it's this desire to want humor and joy and lightness. And at the same time, she's a child. She is a child. And so while she's pointing guns and mirrors and shooting them and wanting to be involved in this protective violence that she sees happening all around her, she's also a child.
It's, light on the reading, but it has some interesting pictures.
No. Put that back. That's not for kids.
I don't even walk around with that thing.
Please get rid of it.
I always
God.
have horses. I want to see what all the fuss is about.
Just like a daughter would mess with their dad.
Slow down.
This is slow. What am I even eating?
That is 20-year-old Chef Boyardee ravioli.
That guy is good.
I'm sorry, but those Chef Boyardee raviolis are so incredibly good. Ellie is eating it super fast and Joel is eating it slow. Joel's eating it slow, likely one, because he knows that it's scarce, that the potential to lose food and have no food to eat is high, but also that he likely experienced actually eating these meals and it's something that he misses from his past life. When Ellie, on the other hand, eats it super quickly because she's never experienced it before.
So what are they gonna do, rob us?
Well, they'll have way more in mind than that.
So I'm just thinking about what it would be like to be Joel in this moment. One, he's in a forest in the middle of nowhere, and all of civilization is essentially lost. Then we have his watch that he wears that acknowledges that he lost his daughter, Sarah. Then we have Ellie, who is a clear representation of the fact that he lost Tess, because him and Tess were on this adventure to get Ellie from point A to point B and get a battery to find his brother Tommy. Then we have all of this equipment that he obtained from Bill and Frank, reminders of Bill and Frank and the fact that he lost them as well. The resilience that you have to have, or the level of vengeance that you may want to enact on another person because of how much you've lost, has to be so incredibly present. And you just have to have such an ability to essentially dissociate from all of the pain that that loss and grief could cause you if you were to actually allow it to come into your consciousness. Joel does have an ability to slow down to a degree. He engages in these mindful activities. He takes these moments when he has an opportunity to be by himself. And this likely is for one of two reasons. One, because he doesn't want to show his emotions, because emotions can be a sign of weakness. And two, it's actually a moment for him to be able to have some inward reflection without having to take care of anybody else in that exact moment. So it gives him a little freedom to be more selfish just in terms of feeling. But he doesn't seem to be able to go deep and really allow those feelings to surface when he's around other people. And obviously for survival reasons, when he's in a moment of survival under an attack or something like that.
Joe!
What?
He's sleeping away from her.
Can I ask you a serious question?
Yeah.
Why did the Scarecrow get an award?
Because he was outstanding in his field.
You dick! Did you read this?
Oh my God. Yeah, nice.
asleep.
They're bonding. And the bonding's probably scary. Any light feeling, any connective feeling is a risk of another loss.
Is that seriously what those Starbucks in the QZ used to sell?
Well, theirs was a lot fresher than what Bill saved up, but yeah, this is what they sold.
It smells like burnt shit.
Casper?
What's his name?
Whose name?
Your brother.
Tommy.
Younger or older?
Younger.
He's opening up to
Long
her.
Is it longer than 25 hours? Because I think that's what we got.
Being in the Army, it didn't make him feel much like a hero. Cut to 12 years later, outbreak happens. He convinces me to join a group making their way up to Boston, which I did. Mostly to keep an eye on him, keep him alive. That's where we met Tess. He wants to save the world. Pipe dream, him, fireflies, all of them. Delusional. Of course, last I heard, he quit the fireflies too.
If you don't think there's hope for the world, why bother going on?
Yeah, good question,
I mean,
Ellie.
you gotta try, right?
You haven't seen the world, so you don't know. You keep going for family. That's about it.
I'm not family.
No. Your cargo. But I made a promise to Tess. And she was like family.
There's a couple things to note from this scene. The first thing is that Joel is obviously beginning to open up when it comes to talking to Ellie about Tommy and the things that he's experienced in his life. When people are in 100% survival mode, they do not connect with other people. So what we can see happening here is that there is some type of bond, whether it's unsaid or unconscious, or if they're both aware of it and just not saying anything, there's a connection that's going on. There's a reduction in amygdala activation. There's an increase in parasympathetic activation. There's these aspects of the brain that begin to become activated when connection, love, safety are present. And some of that bond may be coming from simply the fact that they are engaging in humor together. Humor is a really great defense mechanism, and defense mechanisms can be talked about in a negative way quite often. I even have a video on defense mechanisms if you want to check it out. But defense mechanisms are also really important. The reason that we develop them is because they can be beneficial to our survival in some way, although they may affect our life in other ways. Humor can be helpful because it gives you a moment to distract yourself from everything that's overwhelming in your life. There was a study that was done at USC that took a look at comedians and what actually happened in their brains when they were coming up with jokes and engaging in humorous conversations. When the participants were coming up with jokes, there were two parts of the brain that were activated: the medial prefrontal cortex and the temporal association areas. When someone didn't have as much experience in creating jokes or facilitating jokes, then they focused a lot more on the prefrontal cortex, which is like actually planning the joke and analyzing the joke and then initiating the joke. For people that were more experienced, they were able to be more spontaneous using these temporal association regions. But the reason I'm pointing this out is because when you're in survival mode, the survival parts of your brain are creating automatic decisions that are being made about how to keep yourself alive. So when humor comes into play, it can release some of those relaxation hormones, but it can also activate the prefrontal cortex in ways that it hasn't been activated when you're in strictly survival mode. So what this is doing is it's allowing the brain, when they're engaging in this humor, to expand, to create new neural connections, and to activate systems that may not have been activated in quite a long time.
What are you doing?
We can jog right around this tunnel, take the next ramp, and we're back on the road minute tops. Hey! Please help! Put your seatbelt on.
Oh,
Are you okay?
Yeah,
You're not hurt, nothing?
I don't think so.
I'm feeling what Joel is feeling in this moment. When he looked at Ellie and he asked her if she was okay, I immediately got a flashback to when he was in the car with Sarah in episode 1 and they got into that accident and he had to immediately help Sarah get out of the car. It makes me emotional. And it was only a very short period after that he actually ended up losing Sarah. And I'm just sad for the part of Joel that he cannot feel or think about or even know is there in this moment, but it's there. That part of his brain, that system that remembers that moment, is paying attention to this moment too.
When I say go, you crawl to that wall and you squeeze through and you don't come out until I say, okay? You stay down, you stay low, you stay quiet. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Oh, Jesus. Oh, he still doesn't know she has the gun. He thinks he's gonna die. Oh shit, he's dying. Oh my God, Ellie, 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 Ellie!
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Oh,
It's over. We're not fighting
it's
anymore.
okay, it's okay.
I'm gonna go home. I'll tell everyone you're good. I don't know what to
Oh,
do. My legs don't work. My mom isn't far. If you can get me to her. I'm Bryan.
oh my
What's your name?
God.
Get back behind the wall.
No. I'm sorry. Please. We could just talk. I'm sorry. Please. No, please. Please. I'm sorry. Please.
I'm a mom, so that really affected me, that scene. And also just with recent events that took place in my country of America, having that be the words of this person's end of life, it was very difficult to deal with. I want to leave in my reaction to it because I want you to see that I'm a human. And I think that that's important. And that if that scene affected you, you're not the only one. Now, I saw someone put in the comments of the last video that there was going to be a moment where Joel was really happy that Ellie had that gun. And I can see that this is that moment. I find that this scene is very realistic because Ellie was frozen. She entered into freeze mode and she was just staring at what it is that she had done. I'm going to bring it up again because I think it's important. She asked Joel if he ever felt bad realizing that the infected were people. And in this episode, she's gaining more insight into the fact that people themselves can be dangerous because of the world that they currently live in. It's a scarcity mindset. It's a survival landscape. And you have to defend yourself because everyone is defending themselves. And so therefore, you have to defend yourself against everyone, whether they are infected or not. I am really interested to see how Joel is going to handle this because there is no way to handle this with who we know Joel to be today than to do it in a way, I hope, that sort of treats Ellie like a daughter. Bryan, they got Bryan. They have humanized the enemies. And at times they've humanized what became the infected when it was Joel's neighbors. And then it became Tess. And Bryan wasn't even infected. He became a son. He became a person with a name, a person to say we can be friends. And this is the reality of the situation. Even when Joel and Tess were saying that they were terrible people, it's a world where terrible things need to be done to survive. Not that everyone doing these things are terrible people. Circumstances matter. Circumstances matter.
Kathleen.
Kathleen.
The Bergquists. No. Mark Anthony Halpin. I wonder if this is the cell where my brother was beaten to death.
No, you were wrong. I delivered you. I held you in my hands.
Wow.
I never told them anything about your brother.
Okay, Kathleen. Nice to meet you.
Where is he?
Oh. Okay, please don't be her son. She already lost her brother.
Who did this?
Oh, she thinks there's no use for him now? Oh God, oh God, oh God. Oh man, oh man. Oh!
Find every collaborator and kill them all.
This is interesting. They have these bulldozers and on them it says run, like they are taunting the people that are supposed to be running away from them that they're wanting to attack. This group of individuals seem to really have detached themselves from the rest of society that's remaining and also have done a really great job at dehumanizing anyone that they consider to be their enemy. You know, something that came up for me when she shot the doctor was, you know, that seems like a terrible thing to do. Like, what had that doctor done? But the thing is, something to Kathleen or not something for Kathleen. And after years and years of being in survival mode and being in this post-apocalyptic world, rationality is not the same. The brain is not wired the same. And so the ability to connect often feels lost because the people that we originally connected with were lost themselves. So with Kathleen losing her brother, that was it for her. Now there's no need to connect with any other person because connection's not the concern, it's vengeance for the lack of connection that is the priority. In comparison to the last episode, where humanity could be found in the confines of safety, it's clear here that humanity can easily be erased in wide open survival landscapes. They're pretty organized.
They're not Fedra and they're not Fireflies, so who are they?
Okay, that was my question.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have had to, you know,
Well, you're glad I did, right?
when you're just a kid. Shooting. I know what it's like. First time that you hurt someone like that.
Okay, he's handling it like a dad.
If you,
Or just like a compassionate adult.
I mean, it was my fault. You shouldn't have had to. And I'm sorry.
It wasn't my first time.
Wow.
Now, who taught you that?
Fedra school.
Figures. Your thumb? Over your thumb? You put it in your pack. You shoot your damn ass off.
I'm so glad that he handled this the way that he did. And I'm glad that she was able to open up a little bit and say, this wasn't my first time. I don't know if that's her referencing that she stabbed that infected in the head or if she does have prior experience with a gun and shooting people. But either way, he handled this really well. And he also handled it in a way that a parent actually would by saying, it's my fault. Joel feels as though his role is to be that of a protector. And he has not been able to succeed at that thus far, but he hasn't given up. He really is persistent and he really does have resilience. What comes up for me is that completely makes sense that he would think that it's his fault. Joel has had so many messages that whenever something goes wrong, it is his fault. And so he's told time and time again from external sources and from his own internal voice that these situations are his fault. And so he's taking the responsibility whether he should or not. They have Ellie understanding that Joel has experienced a ton of loss. We have Ellie who has saved Joel's life. We have Joel who has essentially saved Ellie's life as well and is continuing to keep her safe. And we have this humor that they've developed between the two of them that will continue to form a bond and also allow them to have this sense of lightheartedness at times, which can be extremely, extremely healing.
We'll get through this.
I know.
Just a bunch of little kid drawings of Superman. Someone to come and save them.
Henry won't let Sam starve. Double the guards around our provisions. He's fucking close. I can feel it.
What the fuck is that?
Hey, you know that guy who said he was hurt? How did you know it was an ambush?
I've been on both sides.
Did you kill innocent people?
Ooh. Define innocent.
When we were talking about hurting people, what did you mean it wasn't your first time?
Is she gonna tell him?
I don't want to talk about it.
He respected her boundary.
You don't have to.
And he
So-
turned towards her?
It isn't fair. Your age.
Did you know diarrhea is hereditary?
What?
Yeah. It runs in your genes.
Oh. Wow. A moment of joy, sort of like Bill and Frank's strawberries. Now, I would think that part of the reason he wasn't able to hear was, I think he was facing Ellie when he was sleeping, which would mean that his right ear was what was up. If he can't hear as well out of his right ear, then he may not have heard these people when they came in stepping on the glass. I don't know who these people are. I think I've heard a little bit about them reading some of the articles and playing some of the game. My husband played the game and I was hanging out while he was doing so, but I don't know anything else about them. So I guess we'll find out. This episode really seemed to be maybe like a transitional episode. It built more of the relationship between Ellie and Joel, and it introduced many new characters. It introduced Kathleen, and then it introduced these two characters as well. Oh, actually, I think their names are Henry and Sam, but I could be wrong. So we'll find out next episode. Thank you so much for following along. Let me know what you thought about this episode. Put your comments in the section below. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit that like button because you know it helps the algorithm. And hit the notification bell because, as you know, we don't come out with our videos at any specific time, but it will be on Thursdays. I hope that you all are having a great beginning to your year. And if you're not, I hope that this show provides you some relief. Again, I'm Dr. Courtney, a licensed therapist. This is the Truth Doctor Show, and I'm so glad that you exist. See you next Thursday.